You're welcome to the Naija Filmmaker, a podcast about Nigerian filmmakers, their films, and how we can build a diverse and functional industry. I'm your host, Selegot. On this episode, my guest is Vanessa Ohaha. She's a fashion, beauty, and culture journalist. She has had bylines in publications such as Fashion Unfiltered, Sister Magazine Issue 18, and Industrie Africa. In this episode, we talk about what an authentic Nigerian story is, her views on art house films, and her earliest Nollywood memory. If you're a new listener, you're welcome and I hope you enjoy. Hi Vanessa, you're welcome to the Naija Filmmaker.
Hi Sele, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So can you introduce yourself?
My name is Vanessa Ohaha. I am a fashion, beauty and culture journalist, or at least I'm trying to be. And I'm a lover of all things Nollywood. Music, movies, fashion, like the whole 9 yards really.
Okay. And how is your fashion journalism going?
We're trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all trying to push, man. We're doing all that we can, really. I mean, I have a couple pieces published. If you go on my socials, you can click the link in my bio, and it would lead you to a few of the stuff that I've gotten published. We're hoping to do more, but yeah, it's going all right.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so can you tell us about your earliest Nollywood memory?
Ooh, it might not be my earliest, but it's one of the most memorable ones that stands out. It's the weirdest. I don't remember how old I was, but I know I was in my grandparents' house. My mom and I were living with my grandparents at the time.
Yeah.
In Koroduma, Nasarawa State, or as it's more fondly called, One Man Village. And it was Iniedo and is it Kenneth Okonkwo? It is Kenneth Okonkwo, okay. So it's Iniedo and Kenneth Okonkwo in Worlds Apart. The film where they brought her from the village and then this prince falls in love with her. And his parents don't want him to marry this dirty house girl that they brought to the city from the village, and then he runs away. It was a lot. I think the reason why it stands out is because it was probably one of the few rom-coms, Nollywood rom-coms, that really got me in my feels. I'm a die-hard romantic movie stan, and it gave me everything that a romantic movie needed to be. He ran away. He was a prince and he ran away from home and went to go and look for her in her village.
Yeah.
And there was a scene where he was chopping up firewood, and then he brought her back to the city, got her a tutor, and was teaching her how to speak English so she could fool his parents. And they got married. And then at the end there was this big reveal, the girl that you thought is this fancy girl that's my wife is actually that maid that you turned away. But yeah, that's one of the strongest memories of a Nollywood film that I had a really young age.
Okay. Do you know what year that was?
Ooh, it was definitely before 2006. Because in 2006 I moved to Lagos, so it was definitely before 2000. That was when I watched. I don't know what exactly it was, but it was definitely before 2006.
Okay.
Right.
And then I guess, was it a thing that you now fell in love with Nollywood films and you started watching them more often and all that?
So the thing about the way I grew up, my mom and I lived with my grandparents for the longest time, and my granddad wasn't the most let's watch film type person. My grandfather was a radio guy. My grandfather would sit on a tree and put on the radio, and we had the only TV my grandfather agreed to have was this old, the box one that closes with doors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's that one. And we didn't watch a lot of CDs and stuff, so I like to call her my aunt, even though she's my mom's cousin. Yeah, so she's my aunt. Me and my aunt would go around, but she was a lot younger.
Yeah.
So me and her were around to like our neighbors, and like we would watch like all the Genevieve and like Ramsey Noah films and like the Genevieve and Emeka films and like all those ones, and like we would hide. I think we even watched Blood Sisters like through the window of someone's
Yeah.
house, because my grandfather caught us. We're in trouble. We left the house and we didn't tell anybody, and it's because we went to go and watch film.
Yeah.
The only other thing that we ever really did was watch, like my mom and I, we used to watch like telenovelas, all those AIT telenovelas at like 9 p.m. So yeah, that was it. It wasn't like oh, this is Nollywood now. I just like I was raised on like a lot of eclectic movie thingies, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like now, what would you say you have a particular genre that you enjoy, or you're like open to pretty much a range of content?
With Nollywood?
Yeah, with Nollywood, with just general like programming, I guess.
In general, with movies in general, I'm a diehard romantic movie stan. I like love. I like watching people fall in love. It's the cutest thing ever. But with Nollywood, it's with Nollywood that I'm like really gung ho about exploring a bunch of other type of genres, because I feel like we've done the romance rom-com thing a lot, and in the past we've done it really well. I mean, we had iconic couples, for crying out loud. Like we had iconic pairings. There was the RMD Stella Damasos pairing. There was the Genevieve and Ramsey Noah pairing. There was even the Genevieve and Emeka Ike pairing, which I didn't really like. There was the Tonto Diki, and I think Mike Izurion or Mike, the other guy, no, so Joby.
I think both of them.
They were like really iconic pairings. Like we did romance really well back in the day. Like we did romance really well, and I feel like we can still do romance now, but it would be nice to have our actors, explore the things, give them the opportunity to explore the facets of like their craft.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a lot that our actors can do. We have some really talented guys here and women, and it's like, I would just really appreciate if they were given the chance to show their range.
Yeah.
And for the audience to explore other things. Like, I get the argument that the audience likes a certain thing in the cinema, but like, have we really been given a chance?
Yeah.
To enjoy other things? So Hollywood, I am a vast variety of like genres.
Okay.
I think it's needed now.
Yeah.
I think
why do you think it's needed now? Why now?
I think it's the next step in the progression of our industry. We do the rom-com glitz and glamour thing. We've done it well. We've shown that we can do it.
Yeah.
We know that we can do it. Haba. Now I work with that now. But we've not really explored to a large extent.
Yeah.
And the reason why we can do the rom-com glitz is because we've done it a lot. We know what works, we know what doesn't work, at least to at least to a large extent. We know what works and what doesn't work with like the rom-coms and which pairings would, but like we haven't given ourselves the chance to explore the things. We probably haven't given ourselves the chance to explore like tragedy and like drama that is serious drama, not even dramedies. Like, have we really explored like, drama with like comedy? And it's like, okay, I want us to explore a bunch of things. We have our stories. We are Nigerians. Basically, our lives are dramedy. Our faces serious issues. But we laugh through it all, and we have incredible stories. Just the everyday Nigerian has incredible stories to tell, and I'm sure that our actors have incredible stories. And it would just be great to see those stories told in cinema.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned like part of this next phase for the industry will be to explore these other genres. Like, what other things are you expecting from this next phase?
I'm also I'm expecting that how do I put this? We're ushering a new generation of actors. Okay. We sort of have gotten into the habit, and we, by we I mean Nollywood, have sort of got into the habit of phases.
Yeah.
Like our actors coming in phases. Like we have phase one Nollywood, phase two. Like we had first generation Nollywood with like the Andy Okekes and the Manuel Udoko and all of those guys, you know, and then you had like second generation with like Ramsey and and then you have like third generation with like them Emeka Ike and Jimike and blah 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 blah. Then you have these guys now, and we're seeing, I hate to say it, but like we're seeing the same 10 to 15 faces in all the mainstream work. You know, the movies that make it to the cinemas, that make it to the streaming services, we're seeing the same 10 to 15 faces. And let it not be said that I don't want these people to get their bag, because they can be in their bag. But it's like, I wish we would move away from our industry being in phases and just having like a wide variety of actors, young, old, you know, with different skill sets, and not have the industry rely on star power versus, because I feel like a lot of our films are like individual, it's based on like the individuals that are in the film versus the story. You know, I want for the industry to move to be at a point where what sells a movie, what makes people want to see a movie, is the story that's been told versus the people who are in it. Because when that happens, we wouldn't need the same 10 to 15 faces all the time. There would be a lot more, you know, opportunities for new upcoming actors and actresses to be given a shot at, you know, leading, being like the lead role, maybe like the main supporting actress or whatever in the role, just something, you know, and not have to feel like the success of the movies on their shoulders because they are not particularly well known. And instead, what the success of the film will be riding on is the story. You know, that's why I hope for this next phase. Oh, and I also hope we get a lot more like children, like child actors. I don't feel like Nollywood has fully explored young adult cinema yet. And I don't even mean like, oh, babies. I mean like teenagers. We haven't fully explored. We never really had that. You know how a lot of like our teenage years, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but a lot of our teenage years was influenced a lot by like foreign media. You know, we were watching Disney, we were watching Nickelodeon, we were watching all of that. And that's because some of us had cable, right? We didn't have a lot of like really targeted at young adults. We probably only had like I Need to Know with Funke Akindele, and that wasn't around for a very long time. What else did we have? Maybe in recent times we had MTV Sugar, but it wasn't exactly young adult. And it's not MTV Sugar, the Nigerian one, the Nigerian seasons. They weren't exactly young adults. They weren't like teenagers. I don't think we have any like targeted, because I feel like that's a hole in the industry that needs to be filled. But what do I know? I don't know anything.
So you know, like same way our music has become quite international, people are accepting it, same way that the filmmakers feel our film should be getting to that place where
it's Nollywood's turn.
So both filmmakers and also the press and audiences, sometimes, you know, they talk about the authentic African story, our story by us, this, that. To you, what does that mean?
I'm a story by us person.
Okay.
With fashion.
Break it down.
I'm a story by us person with fashion. However, to a large extent, I agree with them. But I feel like movies, music, and fashion, our music, that is, and our fashion and our movies should have all blown up at the same time. If stuff was working the way it was supposed to work. You know, because they're intertwined, which I think is something that's missing right now in Hollywood, is the integration of our fashion industry, our movie industry, and the music industry together. Which is what a lot of like the international entertainment industry does as a whole, like the creative industries elsewhere does, you know. Designers are in films, they're collaborating, people in, you know, musicians are collaborating. You're
Yeah.
seeing, take for instance, now they're promoting the new Elvis movie, the new Elvis Presley movie, and they literally just, I just saw a snippet of Doja Cat. She's
Yeah.
apparently doing one of the songs on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know, it's those things. It's like Adele did James Bond, and it's like a thing, right? There's this integration, which is why you would have musicians show up at the Oscars because they're nominated for best song. It's that lack of an integration within all these three industries, and it's why now Afrobeats and like the Nigerian music industry is blowing up, and Nollywood's like, okay, but do we deserve it? The time in the spotlight, which we do, like, because they're fragmented and they shouldn't be. They should be like this, you know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like music plays a huge role in the storytelling. I feel like it's a storytelling device, especially with film.
Yeah.
I don't know for a lot of people, but for me, music is a huge part in how I enjoy a film or a TV series. I attach a lot of my memories to sound. For instance, I'll give an example with like the Naked Convos, their Little Black Book series on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's an episode, I don't know if it's episode 3, 4, 5, 4 or 3, one of two, when Leo is sick and Tade looks after him. And she's in his house and he's woken up and whatever, and they were having a conversation. She was reading a book and they end up falling asleep. She ends up falling asleep in his bed and they fall asleep together.
Yeah.
And that little scene, there's a song that's played. And every time I hear that song, I think of that scene. Every time I think of that song, I think of that scene. And when I knew it really affected me was when that series made it to Amazon Prime. And I think because of licensing issues, they didn't have the same music. And so when I was watching it on Amazon Prime and it was just like a random filler, like sound underneath, I was like, this scene isn't eliciting the same emotions that it does when I watch it on YouTube. And the only thing that was different was the music. The music does a lot in like the telling of a story. It heightens the emotions, right, that you're supposed to feel in the scene. And I think that's a lot of my main issues with a lot of Nollywood films right now is I'm supposed to be feeling stuff. And 90% of the time, well, that's a huge number. 75% of the time, I disconnect emotionally for me with what I'm seeing on my screen. Not that the acting is bad.
Yeah.
Not that the dialogue is horrible. I'm just not connecting. And for me, mainly, is there's no music to heighten up that emotion that I'm feeling. It's like, auntie, you're supposed to be feeling something. They're supposed to be, and it's just not.
Yeah.
There's that lack. And I hate that fragmentation. And I hope more and more of our music is great. We have some really talented music producers and like I'm sure we have talented people who can do scores and like do soundtracks for us.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so is it more of, you know, the fella type of music or even like modern Afrobeats songs and all that?
See, let's not underestimate our value. I appreciate I feel like everyone's doing the fella type of music now because of, I hate to say this, but because of the Other Day Fall. The cowboy music where they do the movie and they do let us come into the room to start what we're supposed to do or whatever. How does that song go? The fella song. Let us start what we're supposed to do or something. Ejekabere. I think that's the song. And everyone's using it. And it was used really well in How Did They Fall? And I feel like everyone's getting on the fella wave. I feel like it's great. I mean, it's fella. And his music is evocative. It's emotive. But we have some really good emotive musicians right now. And some incredible talented producers. Kobam Zasuko would murder on a score for a film. Like, come on now. We have some really talented producers and like even our artists and like our singers. What's her name? Why is my brain dead?
Jessica Bongos.
Jessica Bongos. Jessica Bongos would kill on the soundtrack for a song. Jarele Buka would kill on the soundtrack for a song. The Cavemen would kill on the soundtrack for a movie. You know?
Yeah.
We have some really good artists who would kill for, you know, and they would do amazing.
Yeah.
It's like movie soundtracks. I mean, because I just tell them what the emotions that we're supposed to be feeling in this scene is. I'm sure they can come. I mean, because that's their work anyway. That's their job anyway. Yeah. Music is supposed to make you feel stuff anyways. They write songs that are supposed to evoke certain emotions in the listener.
Yeah.
And so they can do the same with film in collaboration with filmmakers.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's missing. Oh, and also our fashion industry needs to be collaborating more with our movie industry. Everybody's keeping to themselves and it's not nice. We need to do better so we can be better.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you, right? I mean, I think one of the reasons why our music has, you know, kept kind of going far in the world is also the fact that some of these indigenous record labels are kind of connected to the bigger ones, so the integration is a lot better. I guess in that regard, for the film industry, that will work better. Of course, with the coming of brands like or platforms like Netflix and Amazon, it will try to heighten
our industry.
Yeah, but is it just the thing that our budgets are just not there? Because now we're talking about like global brands handling the portfolios of these artists and us wanting to integrate all these authentic Nigerian songs in our films, and I mean,
it requires money.
Yeah, I can tell you that I'm
money. I agree.
Yeah, I'm about to like you know lock sound for my first feature, and there's a piece of music. It's 1 minute. It's not the whole thing, and the management were calling 7 figures. Yeah, for 1 minute. You know, so what would you say in that regard? Is it just a thing that the film budgets are just not there to, you know, fully explore these other aspects, these other collaborations? Because at the end of the day, money talks, and I mean, to be honest, you know, yeah,
it does. No. It's not even a does it? It does. It does. A lack of funding has been a major problem for Nollywood, because we need the money to be able to do the things that we need to do. And while the entrance of companies and brands like Netflix and Amazon Prime and whoever else wants to come in, it's great.
Yeah,
they need to shell out the cash. They need to open their pockets wide and shell out that money, because we need it. We need it to make films that are to standard, that are undeniable. You know, it's like, this is not it's good for a Nigerian film. We need to get to the point where it's a bloody good film. Nigerian or not, it's just a bloody good film. And to a large extent, you need money to make that happen. You really do. So I agree. They need to open their pockets and empty it if they have to. Because the truth is, they won't even empty their pockets.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but our money with regards to like the exchange rates, Naira versus dollar, is piss poor. So if we truly are going to get the money that we need, honestly, probably won't be a drop in the bucket as there are other projects elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, currency wise, that is.
Yeah. Because the thing is, it's all kind of a circle, you know. These filmmakers make their films, and then it's a thing of whether Nigerians go to see it or not. how much they are able to rake in the box office, how much they keep for themselves, and how much they reinvest it into their next films. So for you, I mean, following you on social media, you kind of have this belief in Nigerian films, even when they let you down. What is it for you? Why do you keep coming back?
I'm I love Nollywood though. Let's not even see. However much I rag on them and I say this film was nonsense or this scene was horrible or whatever, I really love Nollywood. There was a time when I stopped watching Nollywood, and I feel like if you ask every Nigerian, there was a time when they stopped watching Nollywood because I was like in the mid 2000s, because I recognized the talent that we have.
Yeah.
We dey grace, and I feel like that our grace is what makes us special. And I just wish it could translate better.
Yeah.
In our films. And it's gonna happen. I believe so. I hope so. Otherwise, then egg on my face. But I really am optimistic for Nollywood. We're great. We're amazing. We're incredibly talented. From writers to actors to directors. We're really, really talented people. We're insanely creative. Especially given the situation in our country.
Yeah.
And all the odds that are stacked against us. We're literally a rose that grew from concrete. And it's beautiful to see, which is why I'm like a huge supporter. Because it's beautiful to see all that we managed to spring forth despite adversity.
Yeah.
And still spring forth, even with like the current like lack of funds. And the lack of funds that have always existed, we still made films. I mean, old Nollywood made living in bondage.
Yeah.
Severely underfunded. FX was horrible, but we made a film. That is a cult legend. That is a legend. And we continued to make films despite the lack of funds, despite the issues with locations and shooting and technical stuff, cameras and all of that. We still made films back then, and we're still making films now.
Yeah.
It's that perseverance that's like really cool to see. And it's like, why won't you support? They're making the films.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, with this whole industry, the way it works is, filmmakers make films, it goes to cinemas, the audience show up. So from your own point of view, what is it that the filmmakers can do better? Do you think it's a case of rush work? Is it that because you watch let's use Hollywood, you watch Hollywood stuff, it's kind of like you switch off this side of your brain, you watch Hollywood stuff, then you turn on this other one and watch Nollywood stuff. And if you want to put the two side by side, two different countries, all
completely
that,
different.
What do you think these filmmakers, these studios should be doing to close that gap so that we are at that level in terms of craft, in terms of technical know-how?
I don't know a lot about technical know-how because I'm not a filmmaker, so I don't know what needs to be done to close that gap. Okay. There's something I know that needs to be done. The support for the arts and the creatives.
Yeah. Support from what?
I don't think we have like a government. They should open their money. Take for instance, like it's not like the scholarships are great because again it's Nigeria and they can abandon students anyhow. But but it's like when you hear of like funds and funding and scholarships and grants, if it's not in like health services, it's in like engineering.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen like a fund for the creative arts.
Yeah.
There's no support. Our universities don't. Back in the day, theater art department in OAU was legendary.
Yeah.
If you went to Ife and you went to the theater art department in Ife, you were a thespian. Training ton, you are trained. Our creative industry has grown beyond the stage, though, you know, and our training needs to reflect that. People who want to be actors, filmmakers, photographers, ADs, DPs, all of that, they can't go to school for theater arts.
Yeah.
They really can't. They can't train for stage work. They need to train for camera work, editing. That they need the technical know-how.
Yeah.
And we don't have the schools, that support that knowledge and like give that knowledge and provide that training. We don't have that. And we need that.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's what we need, at least from my opinion. I don't know what else, but we really need the support from the government and a restructuring of like our educational system with regards to like the arts.
Yeah.
And bring it to the 21st. Are we in the 21st or the 22nd century? Which one are we in?
21st.
Oh, okay. And bring it to the 21st century. We need an update.
Yeah.
We really do. A lot, especially in like the creative arts. Like, even with like, I studied mass comm in uni, and it's still dated to a large extent. It is still dated. We've gone beyond, I mean, even though radio is still holding on, but we've gone beyond radio, learning how to do radio and broadcast. We've gone beyond that.
Yeah.
And writing news. We've gone beyond that. There's a whole lot that can be explored, you know? I feel like especially the education of like our creatives needs to be brought forward and updated and funded a lot more. It all boils down to money.
Yeah.
At the end of it all.
Yeah. I mean, I think some of these schools are popping up, but like some of them, it's pretty much 1 month courses, 3 months courses, 1 year courses.
You need more than that, don't you?
Yeah, something that they can probably study for undergrad, so like at least 3-4 years. You're going to be a bit versed when you study something for 4 years. You have done practicals and all that. And
then you go and do internships and you do like a year-long internship and you do a placement. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very important.
Yeah, and I mean, for the government part of it, like I think a low-hanging fruit. You know how government give tax breaks to like companies that do stuff. I mean, they could put that tax towards the creative arts. It's also about messaging. We can sell Nigeria abroad and people will show up. It's something that tends to happen over a course of time, and it's not so hands-on. It's intangible. So people don't tend to take it seriously. But hopefully they'll receive sense soon and do the need.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Because it needs to happen. But like story-wise, I don't think we should close the gap. I don't want Nigerian films that look and feel like Hollywood films.
You say what?
I don't think we should close the gap story-wise with international films. Technically wise, I agree. But like with our stories, nah. I don't want to watch a Nigerian film that sounds like, reads like, watches, feels like, whatever, like a Hollywood film. I don't want it.
Okay, so I understand what you say. You don't want one.
Purist, I don't want it. I really don't.
You don't want one that reads like, but okay, so if I ask you, what is the essence of a Nigerian story? Like, how different is it?
Our lived experiences. That's what's different. Our lived experiences are what is different. The Nigerian lived experience is incredibly unique. There's no, I'm sorry, even in Africa, there's no lived experience that's like the Nigerian lived experience. Nobody can say they've lived what a Nigerian has lived. And I don't even mean in the negatives, even in the things that we find humorous, even with our jokes.
And you think that some of these things get missing in movies that try to
feel like not? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because then all it is an imitation.
Yeah.
Of a lived experience that isn't yours. Like when you watch new Nigerian films now, there's a detective who is flipping notepad and looking for forensic evidence. Wow, that is God, I hate this for myself. Wow, that is amazing to see. And maybe it's a storytelling device or whatever. Which Nigerian police officer carries notepad and is writing and is checking for forensic evidence?
But so how do Nigerian police officers investigate stuff?
I will not answer that. We all know how a Nigerian police officer acts.
I said they tell you to write statements and that's it now.
Exactly. Now you go write them, not be there, go write them. How about? Nah, but like really, I just feel like they don't give me a poor imitation of a lived experience that isn't yours, because you can tell, because that's what it now becomes. It's an imitation, when you're telling a lived experience that is yours, that you're familiar with, that it's coming from a place of authenticity, versus when you're trying to portray a lived experience that isn't yours, it feels false.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So I don't want that gap to be bridged. I want to watch Nollywood films that technically are on par with, Western media. I'm all for that. But like, that's what is going to bring Western media anyway to our doorstep now. It's the difference in stories, anyways. They want to watch the lived experience of these people who are different from them. It's why I respect Bollywood so much. I'm a Bollywood stan. You see, Bollywood people, they will tell a story their own. Even when they are doing a crime movie, there's this movie on Netflix everyone's been talking about. I want to watch it because I haven't gotten a chance to, but I want to watch it. And it's about this woman who grew up in the slums and now she's like a big deal in it. And I want to watch it. It's Alia Bhatt. I've never seen Alia Bhatt do a role that serious. She's usually in the light-hearted rom-com Bollywood films. I'm excited to see Alia do that. And it's great, but they will still remain intrinsically India. You can't take it away from them.
Yeah.
The Bollywood, Tamil film industry, the Bollywood industry, the Tamil film industry, the Telugu film, you will see their South Asianness in the stories that they are telling.
Yeah.
Whether or not it is a premise that is different from what we associate them with, it is still the story that they are telling.
Yeah.
It's still India and Telugu and Tamil. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't want us to lose that. If we lose that, we've lost the plot.
Okay, so I've been pretty much talking about commercial films. Let's talk about art films. Have you watched some Nigerian art films? And what are your thoughts?
I've watched some.
Okay. Do you want to talk about them?
I've watched some. Okay, God. Why should I say some? I've watched one.
Okay.
Through no fault of mine. But because it's not available to me yet.
Okay, which one is that?
When the festival runs. I haven't seen Juju Stories.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. Because I've not gotten a chance to see it yet.
Yeah.
The only one I've seen is Lost Okoroshi.
Okay.
Is there, please, what else is an art film? Just cause, or maybe I've seen them and I don't know.
I don't even know if Emofe is an art film. I don't know if it is, but it's not meant to be commercial. But have you seen Emofe?
I haven't. Again, it's not available to me yet.
I mean, I think the Criterion DVD just came out, so you can order on Amazon.
But where I want to watch DVD, I don't get.
You find somewhere now.
Okay, good. I don't have DVD player. I don't have TV. So what am I supposed to watch?
Okay, so let's use Lost Okoroshi as the point of contact to all the art films. What are your thoughts?
I enjoyed Lost Okoroshi.
Yeah, why did you enjoy it? Like, what about it?
It was very Nigerian.
Mm.
And I don't mean about the masquerade, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't the masquerade bit that was very Nigerian, even though that was, but that wasn't what was it. It was like, it was everything, you know?
Mm.
It was seeing Chibetalagu under a tree, sat there, because that's what men of his age do.
Mm.
You know? I don't think no person in Nigeria has ever said they've not seen a middle-aged, older Nigerian man sit under the tree in the daytime/late evening drinking. It's something you're familiar. That's what it was with Lost Okoroshi. It felt familiar.
Yeah.
The room that the lead and his wife lived in felt familiar.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that he was in the market dancing and people were, it felt familiar.
Yeah.
Even the market felt familiar. That was what. So even though it was an art film and it was dealing with a subject that was artsy, it didn't feel like they were trying to be. This is an art film. Yeah. You're not supposed to understand it. It felt familiar.
Yeah.
You know, there were scenes and scenery and setups that felt like the regular Nigerian experience, and that's what I mean about like the lived experience.
Yeah.
It just felt right. You know, it didn't feel strange or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it could have, if they didn't do all that they did to make it look and feel like a regular Nigerian society, and like these are regular Nigerian people, somebody like him and where he works as the security guard. It's just, people like that. You've seen them. You're familiar with them. So even though they were dealing with him being a masquerade and what that meant, and like, just felt right.
Yeah.
A secret society that has a billboard. What is more Nigerian than that?
Uh-huh.
We love billboards. We love sign.
Yeah.
We love signposts. How are you a secret society that has a signpost? It's so Nigerian.
Yeah.
It didn't feel strange that they had a signpost. So like all the other artsy themes and everything were a lot more digestible.
Yeah.
Because it felt familiar. But yeah, I would love to see more art films. I'm just not an art film girl. God, I hate it.
Uh-huh.
I'm a lover of the art, so I just don't like art films. But the main reason that they feel pretentious.
Okay.
And they take it too serious.
And is that the essence of art films? Do you feel it's just something some people do, or that's the whole essence of art films, that they are always pretentious?
Like that's the essence of a lot of art films and like indie films. And I mean, to a large extent, I understand why.
Yeah.
Because no one else is taking them seriously, so they have to take themselves seriously. But like, I also don't like to think.
Yeah.
When I'm watching.
Just like to feel with the music and, I
know, I like to feel. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Even with books. So when I say I read, people are like giving me, dramas, serious book to be reading, and I'm like, let me not like people. I just like romance books.
Yeah.
It might seem like why is she reading trashy novels and why is she always reading love books. I'm sorry. I didn't come here. I'm for me, entertainment is escapism. Yeah. I'm not about to be struggling through a book. I came here to enjoy myself, and enjoy myself I will. I want to feel something. Yeah. And it doesn't mean I can enjoy myself on the like it's lighthearted and whatever. Even if it's like something that's really painful. Yeah. I just want to escape. I just actually want to feel the emotions rather than have to think about them. Like I'm dissecting what that scene meant because people didn't really show me what it meant.
Yeah.
Haba. Honestly, that's how I feel about art films. But I want art films from the Nigerian perspective. If they're done like Lost Okoroshi was done.
Okay, so like if you had to like give art filmmakers piece of advice? Like the industry is pretty young and the art film scene is very young. In order for them to cultivate their audience, know their audience, be able to access this audience, and to get like the support or the viewership, what would you advise them to do? How can they make that a bit more accessible to the audience?
That's just it. Make it accessible.
You don't
Nah,
make it
for
down
real.
for them.
Nah, for real. It's make it accessible to the audience. Make it feel familiar. You're dealing with I think that's what it is. Deal with issues that feel familiar to the Nigerian audience. Well, tell it artistically the way you want to. I don't know. I just feel like you can deal with your artsy, weird, off-center themes, yeah. But give us something that feels familiar. Because at the end of the day, people like to see themselves in films. I don't want to be looking at characters and be like, I don't recognize anyone like that. Even if I don't see myself, I want to see people that I know, or that I know of, or that I've seen one time. I'm like, I know one person like that. And true, now so that person will be. Just people want to feel like they are part of the story.
Yeah.
To a large extent. Part of the world that you have created.
Yeah.
So give us that. Don't rob us of that feeling because you're trying to make an art film. Okay. But make the art films, or make it all. Because at the end of the day, if you don't make it, nobody else will. Make it. I'm a huge proponent of creators just making stuff. I haven't made anything wrong. But make stuff. It's important, just make it.
We have come to the end of this episode. Remember to rate and review the podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Selego Film, and the podcast at the Naija Film Pod to share your feedback. You can now support the podcast by visiting the website to donate. See you on the next episode. Have a good one.